One of the great debates in archery is, do you shoot a fixed blade or do you shoot a mechanical? And I've actually gone back and forth, and I think it depends just a little bit on your situation. So the thing about it is with a fixed blade, you're going to get a little bit more penetration, but a mechanical will cut a little bigger hole and also will usually fly truer. And what I've learned in time is it depends on how well your bow is tuned. If your bow is paper tuned, where you shoot a perfect bullet hole through paper, then a fixed blade will fly really, really well. But otherwise, go with a mechanical.
I would go with mechanical because it shoots just like my field points. I don't have to sit there and tune my bow and get it perfect. Because through the season, I mean, a lot of times we have to go through and fix little things on our bows, so I prefer to go mechanical, but they each have their drawbacks. Mechanical, it can deploy midair if something goes wrong. Fixed, if something's just not quite right, it's gonna pull to the left or the right, and they both have their pros and cons, but I prefer mechanical.
You know, there's always debate when you get around deer camp about which broadhead to use. Do you use fixed blade? Do you use mechanical? What's best? I'm gonna tell you, in my opinion, it's whatever you have the most confidence in. When I was younger, I was die-hard fixed blade broadhead because I like to tune my broadheads to my arrows, and I knew which way they were flying. I knew how every arrow, you know, I'd get them lined up just right, and I knew what they would do. It's really all about what they do on the deer. You know, you want to be able to hit where you're aiming. That's the number one thing. And then how's it going to perform when it hits that deer? I mean, you don't want one that you're not sure if it's going to open or not, or you're not sure how it flies. I mean, you want to be sure that they're hitting where you're shooting. And does that arrow deploy when it's supposed to? Does it cut like it's supposed to? Do you get a true, you know, plenty of penetration with that? You know, not all of them are the same on penetration. Some of them penetrate more than others. And what does it do when you hit one quartering away? That seems to be the biggest thing for me, is how's that arrow, how does that broadhead perform on a quartering shot? Because to me, the best shot is a deer quartering away from you just a little bit. And I mean, you don't want one that's gonna deflect. You don't want one that's gonna, you know, one blade opens, one don't. And that's just trial and error. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Because somebody could have a horror story on a fixed blade broadhead. You know, well, that arrow took off and it planed and it shot 4 inches high, or it shot 3 inches to the right. Or you could say, you know, that broadhead didn't open right. And really, do we know? I mean, how do you know when you got to that deer, if you find that deer, if you find your arrow, if that broadhead opened just right? I've heard people say that it was the broadhead that did it. Well, maybe you hit a rib and you hit it just right. You never, ever know for sure exactly what happened on that broadhead when it hit the deer, because you just can't see. Even when you're filming it, you can't slow it down enough to see exactly what that broadhead's doing. So for me, it's confidence. Get something that you have confidence in. Talk to your buddies, you know, talk to people that's actually shot them and have got stories about them, and they can tell you the success or failures they've had with them.